Hello everyone. Hi. Assalamu alaikum. I am Ekim Monjurul Islam, live and exclusive from my page Monjur's English Solution. So I have come back to my live session after a long gap, and as I mentioned before that I am going through a very busy schedule nowadays, and I have been working as a university teacher for a long time, so I don't get enough time, and I couldn't actually manage enough time for these live sessions. But today I have been able to manage some time, and I have decided that each and every month, once or twice, I will conduct live sessions from my page. Previously I used to conduct live sessions once a week, but because of my busy schedule I cannot be so much regular, and that's why I am conducting live sessions once or twice in a month. So in this month, this is my first and last live session in August, and after this live session my next live session will be held in the next month, and I will definitely inform you before that. So each and every month I will conduct one live session, and as mentioned before, today's topic is communicative language teaching. I am going to conduct my live session for today on this topic, CLT, or communicative language teaching. It is a very important topic for the students of ELT and linguistics. So I welcome you all to my live sessions. Those who are very much interested on today's topic, they are welcome, and please join as early as possible. Join immediately. So I am going to start the live session very soon. I mean, on the topic CLT, or communicative linguistics. What is CLT? CLT means communicative language teaching. It is actually the most updated language teaching method so far. CLT is the most updated or upgraded language teaching methods that has been discovered or invented so far, and it is being applied worldwide nowadays. And CLT has successfully been implemented in many parts of Europe and American countries, but in our country we have definitely started CLT long before, but still we have not been able to implement CLT properly because of some limitations that we have. We will discuss about that later on. But first of all, we have to know and understand how this method is applied to a language classroom. As I have told you that CLT stands for communicative language teaching, and the main motto or objective of this method is communicative competence. I repeat, communicative competence. That means using the language, not learning the language. Using the language is the primary focus and the main objective of this method. That means communicative competence is the main motto or objective of CLT. And let us now talk about some of the principles and techniques of this method. How CLT is implemented or applied to a language classroom. Actually, CLT has got some characteristics. First of all, let us talk about the principles of CLT. That means some basic rules for applying this method, this language teaching method. Number one is role of the teacher. What is the role? What should be the role of a language teacher while using or applying this CLT method to a language classroom? Yes, definitely the teacher has to be the facilitator. I mean, teacher's role will be the role of a facilitator. Teacher will provide the students with facilities. He will not directly teach, rather he will play the role of a facilitator. He will facilitate the students with instructions, with materials, with guidance, with questions, and definitely with some kind of feedback. So teacher's role in this method would be facilitator. Now let us talk about the interaction between teachers and learners, how the interaction actually is done in this method. Actually, in CLT, the interaction goes both ways. I mean, from teachers to students, and even in between students as well. That means interaction should be from teachers to students or vice versa. That means from students to teachers as well. And there will be a lot of interactions among the students as well. So every way communication is there, every way interaction is there in CLT. Teachers are interacting with the students are interacting with the teachers, and even students are interacting within themselves. That means all kinds of interactions are happening in CLT as it is dealing with communicative competence. Now let us talk about the skills that this method deal with. Yes, CLT deals with all the 4 basic or macro skills of language. What are the skills of language? Listening, speaking, reading and writing. And CLT covers all of them. That means communicative language teaching or CLT deals with all the 4 basic skills: listening, speaking, reading and writing. All these 4 skills of language teaching. So if any of these skills are somehow missed, then CLT is not properly implemented inside the classroom. So for the successful implementation of CLT, a teacher must deal with all the 4 basic skills of language: listening, speaking, reading and writing. All these skills should be given equal importance in CLT. So this is very important. Now let us talk about the language inside the classroom. Yes, teachers most of the time uses target language inside the class, but if needed, sometimes teachers can shift to their mother language, but most often the interaction takes place in the target language. That means the medium of instruction and communication inside the classroom will be the target language. But if students are not able to understand at all, then optimal use or judicial use of mother language or native language is permitted. But most often the interaction and communication and the medium of instruction will be happening in English language. That means in target language. If the teacher is dealing with English language, then definitely he will have to use English inside the classroom, but sometimes he can shift to mother language for better understanding. That means optimal use of mother language is allowed, but most often the teacher must use the target language inside the classroom. So this is what how the language is dealt inside the classroom in case of CLT. Now let us talk about how grammar is dealt with in this method. Yes, in this method CLT, there is a misconception that CLT doesn't deal with grammar. Yes, of course, CLT doesn't provide the students with explicit grammar rules. That means CLT in this method, in this communicative language teaching method, explicit grammar rules are not provided by the teachers. Students actually induce the grammar rules from the communicative functions. I repeat, CLT dresses grammar with communicative functions but doesn't directly provide explicit grammar rules. Rather, students induce the grammar rules from the communicative functions. That means deductive grammar is not happening in CLT. CLT deals with inductive grammar. That means students induce the grammar rules from the communicative use of the language. Just like, most of us are learning Hindi language after watching the Hindi serials, but we don't know the grammar of Hindi language. But sometimes we are formulating the sentences properly. We are somehow able to create sentences in Hindi after watching those Hindi serials. That means the grammar rules are induced by us. In the same way, in case of communicative language teaching, it doesn't directly provide the students with grammar rules, explicit grammar rules. Rather, the students induce the grammar rules from the communicative use of the language or the communicative functions. I hope you understand. And how the feedback is given by the teacher. Yes, teachers in this method, in this CLT method, does not directly correct the students' errors. Rather, teacher's role, I have already mentioned, is the role of a facilitator. Teacher will definitely give the students some clues or hints, and he will definitely clarify that you have committed a mistake, but he will not directly correct the student. Rather, he will guide, he will provide the students some sort of guidance by providing them with hints and clues, but not directly provide with correct answers. This is how CLT method or CLT approach is implemented inside the classroom, inside a language classroom. So these are the actually basic principles of CLT, how CLT should be implemented inside the classroom. I have talked about teachers' role, how the teachers deal with the students, how teachers give the students feedback, how grammar is dealt with in this method. So I have already talked about how language, which type of language is used inside the classroom, and what is the main objective and motto of this method, and what should be the role of the teachers. I have talked about all these things. So I think now you are quite familiar with the approaches and methods of CLT. I mean, how CLT should be implemented inside the classroom. I have talked about the basic principles of this method. Now let us talk about some of the techniques of applying CLT inside a language classroom. What should be the techniques of a teacher for applying this method? Yes, for reading skill development, as CLT deals with all the 4 basic skills of language. For developing reading skill, the teacher must use reading comprehension and answering question type of materials, just like IELTS reading materials. Those materials can be used inside the classroom. And even for developing writing skills, teachers can use jumbled sentences. I mean, sentences are jumbled and students have to reorder the sentence. That means reordering, as I have already told you. I mean, reordering we see in case of HSC, SSC exams. Students actually are familiar with reordering sentences. I mean, there is a passage where sentences are jumbled, and students have to put them in right order. This is how it is done. So this can be another technique. And even describing charts and graphs, just we see in case of IELTS writing. And even dialogue writing is another technique, writing dialogues. This develops the communicative competence, how to use language in a given situation. So through dialogue writing, this kind of communicative use of the language will develop. So dialogue writing is another technique of CLT. And even in case of developing the speaking skill of the students, teachers can use IELTS speaking materials. Even they can conduct oral interviews, even role play activities. Students are actually playing different roles. This can be done. And even talking on a particular topic, talking about himself, or even talking about a particular situation, talking about his own interests, hobbies. This kind of speaking task can be given to the students. Just like we see in case of IELTS speaking activities. Oral interviews, as I have already told you, can be conducted. Job interviews, role play. These are the techniques for developing their speaking skills. And even in case of listening skills, audio-visual materials can be used inside the classroom, just like the IELTS listening materials we see. So these are the techniques for developing your communicative competence in communicative language teaching. That means in CLT, we see this kind of techniques that teachers apply for the successful implementation of this method. So now let us talk about some of the strength and weakness of this method. Yes, this method is very good for communicative competence. Students develop their communicative skills quite easily and quite comprehensively, but the main problem is this method actually doesn't provide the students with explicit grammar rules. So sometimes it becomes very difficult for the students to induce the grammar rules from the communicative functions, and as a result they have some kind of lacking in case of the standard or proper use of English. That means they become fluent, but in case of accuracy, students might face some kinds of difficulties because of the lack of explicit grammar rules. And another thing is all the basic skills. This method actually deals with all the 4 basic skills. So the skill development, language skill development is there. That means the students develop their basic skills of language quite brilliantly. And this method, of course, somehow deals with the psychology of the students and the pedagogy of the teachers. That means students' learning style and preferences are somehow given importance in this method. So the main problem of CLT that we see is the lack of grammar rules. I mean, students sometimes face a lot of difficulties to induce the grammar rules from the communicative functions, as CLT doesn't provide the students with explicit grammar rules, and there lies the problem. And sometimes it becomes very difficult for the teachers to implement this method in a large classroom culture. That is what we see in our country. We have more than 50 students in a class in primary and secondary level sometimes. So in that case, it becomes very difficult for the teacher to monitor all the students, and role play activities are very difficult to implement inside the class because of the large classroom culture that is existing in many parts of the world. So in large classroom culture, CLT becomes very difficult to implement, but in case of small classroom culture, CLT is quite very much effective. But as I have already told you, for large classroom culture, I think teacher has to be quite innovative in implementing this method. Now let us talk about the culture sensitivity of this method. I mean, from our context, I am going to talk about CLT because this is the most upgraded method, the most updated and upgraded language teaching method that is being used all around the world. Even in our country, we are applying CLT, but how much successful have we become in implementing this method in our country? Well, in our education system, in our ELT classrooms, we have been applying CLT for a long time, but still there are a lot of lackings that we have sorted out. Because I have already told you that we have a large classroom culture, so it becomes very difficult for the teachers to implement this method. Pair work, group work, this becomes very difficult sometimes, and it is very difficult to monitor all the students when you have more than 50 students in the primary and secondary level of Bangladesh. So it becomes very difficult for the teachers to implement this method. Another thing that I would like to talk about CLT, that is in our country still we are not dealing with speaking and listening skill properly. right from the very beginning till the end, from the primary level to the tertiary level, we are mainly dealing with two skills, reading and writing. That means we are not properly implementing CLT in our classroom, because CLT deals with all the four basic skills, but we are mainly focusing on reading and writing skill. We are not dealing with listening and speaking skill properly. As a result, CLT is not properly being implemented, because the main thing is CLT has to deal with all the four basic skills of language. So we have to work on it. We have to put equal emphasis on listening and speaking skill as well. And I think there should be exams in our curriculum. It has to be incorporated in our examination. These two skills, listening and speaking, should be incorporated. The sooner we incorporate these two skills, the better result we will get. But as I was telling you that CLT has got some other problems in our country, because there is a misconception that CLT doesn't deal with grammar at all, and we have been accustomed to use grammar translation method for a long time, because in our country grammar translation method, or GTM, has been being applied for many years, and the teachers and students got used to it, and they could not actually get out of that previous method totally. Still, explicit grammar rules are provided by the teachers. So the teachers need proper training how to deal with grammar while applying CLT inside the classroom, because CLT does not provide the students with explicit grammar rules. Rather, CLT dresses grammar with communicative functions. But still, in our curriculum, in our techniques, the techniques the teacher follow, most often they are providing the students with explicit grammar rules inside the classroom. So the teachers need proper training for implementing CLT inside the classroom, because CLT does not actually deal with explicit grammar rules. Rather, CLT uses inductive grammar. CLT does not use deductive grammar. But in case of our country, still we are holding the previous deductive grammar technique, which is not the proper principle of CLT. As a result, CLT is not being properly implemented. So these are the lackings that we see in our country, and we are using the weak version of CLT. CLT has got two versions, strong version and weak version. So in our country, we are still using the weak version of CLT. We are not using the strong version, because we are actually not the native speaking country. We have to make it culture sensitive. We are trying, but I think we need a revolutionary approach for the successful implementation of CLT inside the classroom. Teachers need proper training to implement this CLT method inside the classroom. But most of the educational institutions, especially in case of the private schools, colleges and universities, teachers are not getting enough training for applying CLT inside the classroom. But in case of government school colleges, there are some advantages of some facilities of training that are provided to the teachers. But in case of private schools, colleges and universities, teachers are not getting enough training, or not getting any training at all from any institution. So as a matter of fact, CLT is not being properly implemented. We are using the weak version of CLT. So we need to overcome the limitations that we have. I have already talked about the drawbacks and limitations of CLT and the problems that we are facing while applying this method in our context. Anyway, so that's all. I hope the students of ELT and linguistics from this live session will be benefited, and after I finish my live session, I will upload this on my YouTube channel as well. I have got a YouTube channel with the same title, Manjur's English Solutions. So after the live session you will get my recorded video of this live session both on my page and on my YouTube channel. So do not forget to like, comment and subscribe. And of course your participation is my inspiration. So if you participate, if you actually get involved, get engaged, that will definitely boost up the level of confidence, and that will actually boost up the views and likes of this page. And I want your full support and participation. That is very important, because I want to help you from my experience, from my teaching knowledge and experience. I would like to help all my students students all around the country, all around the world, because I have been teaching for a long time. So if I am able to help, and if I am able to spread my knowledge among other people around, that is actually my success, and I definitely will be encouraged if you help me. So thank you very much for joining the live sessions. Those who have joined the live sessions, thank you very much. And those who could not, for their convenience, I will upload the recorded video of the live session on my page and on my YouTube channel as well. So in my next live session I will definitely come back with another new topic. And you can write to me by texting me through the inbox of my page. Even my mobile number is also given on my page, my contact number. You can contact me through that number and can inform me about your problems related to English language, CLT, linguistics, English grammar. I will try my level best to help you. So that's all. Thank you very much for joining my live session tonight. Thank you. Stay cool, stay fine, stay dandy. Goodbye and good night.